In fact, I grew up in the very poor state of Jharkhand, which used to be Bihar at that time, in a little village outside Ranchi called Raisibai. And most work that was happening in that village was art and craft. And I have been actually supporting the art and craft of Jharkhand for the last almost 40 years. We're very proud of how Jharcraft has evolved. So many of their art is now available in India and internationally. More recently, of course, I mean, in Pune, where I live, we support a wonderful entity called Anubhuti, which is doing a lot of good work, including making very interesting masks today in the COVID era. 4 years back, we were also approached by a very called Studio Copper. And Studio Copper was actually working with copper artisans across Maharashtra and helping them to actually scale and do international designs. And I'm very proud that today Studio Copper, for instance, is exporting internationally, is a profitable entity, and hopefully the work we've done has some value to it. So let me first introduce the very eminent moderator and chairperson for this session. And that is Dr. Sonal Ambani, who's with us on this Zoom chat today. Sonal has an absolutely amazing background, so I must read it to you rather than just talk. So, the founder of Art Gallery and the Cancer Screening and Research Trust, CSRT. She also authored Mothers and Daughters and Fathers and Sons for CSRT. Sonal holds 2 patents granted in the US. She was the first member and first chairperson of FICCI Flow in Ahmedabad. Her sculptures have been exhibited around the world. And in 2018, she was selected to be among 100 people to create a piece for the Elephant Parade, which went on to be showcased and auctioned in Mayfair, London. Her sculptures have just been showcased in the Architectural Digest. Mrs. Ambani is a member of the United Nations Development Fund for Women. She's been awarded the prestigious Pfeiffer Peace Prize given to her in New York. And in 2019, she received the Times of India Women Power Award for Art and Sculpture. So I'm truly delighted, Sonal, that you've agreed to spend an hour and a half with us. And the way we'll structure this session, ladies and gentlemen, is please keep your audio on mute because it helps in hearing all the speakers. So we'll get Sonal to introduce the speakers, speak with them, and we'll have adequate time left for any questions and answers. Any questions you have, please put it on the chat line. We will try and enable you to ask the question directly, but it always helps if we have a series of questions coming through on chat. So thank you very much for being here, and over to you, Sonal.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Ganesh Bhai, for that wonderful introduction. I want to thank Angana Nanavati too. Thank you very much, Angana, for introducing me to this wonderful group of people and all the wonderful work that all of you are doing. Thank you for taking time out on this sunny, bright Saturday morning to be here with us, everyone. And I'd like everyone to take both their hands and raise them up in the air. Everyone can do that for me. Raise your hands up and then put them to the right. Then take them to the left and then put them up in the air, straight up, and let all the positive energy come in and flow down right to you and be in the moment and enjoy the great speakers that we have today. So thank you. So as Ganesh said, SVP is a family of philanthropists. They've been working with many NGOs, the partners giving their precious time and energy to help all these wonderful causes. Our worldwide view has drastically changed. Everyone is trying to come to reality with this new reality, this new normal, with the circumstances that we're all finding ourselves in today. And the same goes for philanthropy. In this session of the Thought Leadership, we want to hear about the artisans and how they are coping. They are artists, but they are also tradesmen and women. The questions are, what kinds of interventions can be designed to help them see them through these difficult times with dignity? How can we preserve and protect tradition? We have a very, very informed panel with us today, and I'll introduce them as we go along. I'd like to start our conversation with Shiva Devi Reddy from Go Co-op, an online e-commerce platform that supports handloom artisans. It was very interesting. I was reading there are over 9 million handloom artisans in India, which I did not know. Go Co-op has been successful in getting art from 6 states all across India to well-known to people around the world, and making sure that the weavers get their due returns for their workmanship. Shiva strongly believes that technology can drive social change and economic developments of people at the bottom of the pyramid. 7 years ago, he started Go-op, India's first marketplace platform for weavers and artisans, with a dream to enable a sustainable livelihood for artisans through a simple, transparent marketplace platform. At the same time, to deliver great service, good quality, and authentic products at fair prices to our buyers. Bridging the gap between the buyer and artisan meant elimination of the middleman, which in many cases was responsible for the exploitation of poverty. They were unable to provide sustainable livelihoods for their producers. Shiva, it's such a pleasure to have you with us today. Amazing work that you're doing. And you may start with stories from the ground and how the artisans are coping with the current situation.
Thank you, Sonal. Good morning, everyone. I think these are unprecedented times, as most of you would agree. The crisis, which started at least in India maybe 10 weeks ago, has taken many of us by surprise, even as corporates, small enterprises, and especially some of these rural sectors like crafts have been pretty badly hit. As you can imagine, craft sector is a tradition as old as India itself, right? I think India probably has the richest craft tradition in the world, where we are talking about artisans making silk products, the craft products which were exported even in olden times to Rome, to Egypt. I think some of you would be familiar that Indian crafts have been found in the tombs of Egypt, which are thousands of years old. So that's the kind of legacy and craft traditions we are talking about. And these craft traditions are carried forward by small groups of artisans in different parts of the country. So just to give you an idea, every 50 kilometers in this country, in India, you would have a craft cluster. So I'm from Hyderabad. So near Hyderabad, you have Pochampalli, you have 300 kilometers from Hyderabad, you have Gadwal, Narayanpet. And then, in Karnataka, you have Mulkalmuru, which is closer to the AP border. So these are craft clusters, which are nothing but a group of villages, usually 2-3 villages, which practice a certain craft. Now, most of these craft clusters are having artisans, cooperatives. A cooperative, as some of you may understand, Amul is a great example of a cooperative, but it's a pretty large one and probably the most successful cooperative in India. But cooperatives are groups of artisans coming together to form an enterprise. So they are self-managed and self-governed. You also have self-help groups, and you also have small micro entrepreneurs. So these clusters, which are in remote parts of the country, because of the the COVID-19 crisis, are completely shut off or shut down right now, both in terms of supply as well as in terms of demand. So, a short survey that we did as GoCoop within the communities that we work with, we interviewed 69 small micro entrepreneurs, cooperatives across 49 clusters in India, across 12 states. This was during April 2nd week. And what we found out is pretty much, I think there's been no work till April 2nd week, it was 4 weeks into shutdown. So, and now it's, I think, more than 10 weeks. So, so I think, yeah, there's been no work in these clusters, and these clusters are absolutely not having access to any demand whatsoever. A lot of the existing orders have been put on hold or have been cancelled. Most of these artisans travel to exhibition city to city to sell their products, which is not happening right now. So the situation has been pretty grim, and I must say the entire craft value chain has been broken because of COVID-19.
Sonal, you're muted. Sonal, you're muted.
Sonal, can you hear us?
You're still muted, Sonal.
Angana, the host can unmute her. The host can unmute her.
Sanjana, do you mind? Do you want to unmute her?
Okay,
Sure,
good. Yes. Okay. You can hear me now. Sorry, I won't. Yeah. Okay. I was on. I myself. I tried. Okay. Shiva, what you said is very true. That the source for artisans now, exhibitions which were there, store. No one's going to stores right now. Most are closed, and also how people would go to the villages actually as an experience, tourists or even locals to see and purchase directly from the artisans. So all those sources are gone. So tell us what kind of relief efforts are underway with artisan communities right now, and what is it that they need, and how can everyone help?
Yeah, so I think the basic thing is sustenance of artisans, which is of paramount importance right now. We are talking about the official numbers of artisans are close to 10 million right now, but unofficially the number could be much higher. And some people estimate this to be 50 million. Some people talk about 100 million, because these are traditions which are practiced in most households, but they're not really counted as artisans formally. So the official data, Sonal, is that more than 66% of artisan population makes less than 5,000 rupees a month. So that's the reality, right? I mean, probably much lower than what uh, uh, a manual labor would make in doing something else. So these are skilled artisans making less than 5,000 rupees a month right now. And they are the ones who are completely impacted because of this crisis, because there's been no work. So obviously they're not getting paid, but there are some social entitlements they're getting through the government, both the central government and the state government. In the survey that we have done, 70% of our artisan groups have got some entitlements in terms of rations, in terms of the stipend that the central government and in some cases the state government has given. But we know that these entitlements are not adequate. In many cases, these are not enough. So, so that is the most important thing where we need to think about sustenance of these artisans. The second thing is there is also we need to restart these clusters. So we can't just keep it closed. Companies are restarting. Some of them at 33%, some of them are restarting at 50%. So similarly, we need to restart these clusters. And for that, I think there is a lot of stock which is piled up. On average, we are talking about a small entrepreneur on average carrying more than 15 lakhs of stock, which is a huge burden on them. And in fact, I think it's quite threatening for them, right, to see this kind of stock piled up and they're not able to liquidate it right now. So the first thing is sustenance. The second thing is how do we restart these clusters? How can we liquidate some of the stock? How can we also help them in, restarting production? Even to restart production, they need raw material like yarn. They need raw material like dyes, basic raw material, right? And this is also not accessible right now. In many clusters, they're not able to get access to these raw materials. So these are some of the things which are required. And I think, yeah, at least I think our focus as GoCorp has been not only to support some of the groups in terms of sustenance, but also in terms of really helping them liquidate their inventories right now and helping them restart their production.
Thank you. I did not know that 60% earn less than 5,000 rupees a month, and even numbers, and even 15 lakhs of stock. That's a large amount for an artisan to have in hand. So how can SVP partners, philanthropists, and larger corporations insist in making the wheel again? How can people reach out and help people?
Yeah, I think so. Craft sector. I mean, a lot of people completely focus on the artisans because they are at the base of this sector. But according to me, the sector is also able to sustain so long, and compared to many other countries where these traditions don't exist anymore, it's only because of the support and patronage by customers, right? And I think corporates, I would say, play a big role in this. So today, if you look at any big corporate in India, they have some initiative which is involving craftsmen, artisans, probably in clusters which are closer to their area of production or in their region of operation. So there are a lot of corporates which are quite active in craft sector, and this is helping the craft community in many ways. As investors, as philanthropists, as corporates, I think we all have a duty towards, protecting our, not only I would say, heritage and culture, protecting these crafting traditions. It's good to protect traditions, but it's probably much more important today to protect livelihoods. And this is a sector which is providing the second largest livelihood after agriculture. So I think it's important for us, especially after COVID-19. I think we all have to realize the importance of farmers and artisans in this country. We all have to really understand the important, crucial role they are playing in keeping our rural economy going. So I think it's important for SVP partners, corporates, and any philanthropists to come forward and see how best they can support this sector.
Thank you for that. Thank you. And well, the markets are closed right now. So like you said, how will they restart their production? How can the value chain be restored? If, like you said, they can't get their basic, even the yarn's not available. So how can this, loop be open? How can the value chain be restored?
Yeah, good question. And, that's where I think the post-COVID scenario seems to be very different in terms of both access to market and also the demand patterns. So I think, Sonal, what we are seeing is, what's interesting is 2012, we started off on a journey called Go Co-op, where we thought technology can drive social change, and we can connect these remote artisans in a remote cluster, artisan in a remote cluster, using technology to a customer anywhere in the world. That was the vision, and we started off this journey in 2012. And trust me, I think there's been so many over the years. It was like, I don't know, do we really need this? What is the importance of technology in a sector like craft? So we have been faced with a lot of interesting questions along the journey. And it was also quite challenging, if you can imagine, right? A person who has never seen a computer, to explain to him, how can we connect them through online or through e-commerce to customers somewhere else in the world. But today, I think in the post-COVID scenario, I think the demand is going to be predominantly online. And at least for some time. I would say till the time where we are reopening our markets fully, which could take some time, could take 6 months, 9 months, or even more. Online is becoming a very important channel for and that's one of the ways where we can connect these clusters at this moment also to demand. And at the same time, while we are connecting them with demand, we also need to connect them with supply. So supply is another big problem where they're not able to get raw material. And you may find it difficult to believe, but people in Northeast sometimes have to wait for 3 months to get yarn, which comes from, let's say, mostly from south of India. So that's how long the supply chains are in this sector. So I think connecting them both with demand and supply, and also digitally enabling them, to accept payments, to even like a simple thing, right? How do you take photographs of your own products? How do you put it online? So digitally enabling them is definitely the way forward to connect these clusters and artisans, both with demand and supply.
Shiva, I think as you're a techie yourself, I think they're very lucky to have you, Shiva, doing this for them, because as we're all seeing, technology is playing such an important role today in all of our lives, even for all of us to be able to talk today. So I think helping the artists and these traditional crafts evolve and take them online is so important, as you said. And even talking about this industry at large, and even more relevant now, there's a lot of conversation around how this coming generation are not as inclined to take up this profession. Why is that? And what's required for us to rejuvenate it into a lucrative business for the artist and the audience? How do we get them, the next generation involved and not lose all these beautiful traditions and crafts?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this has been the biggest challenge, I would say, because as I said, if today there's a lot of debate on this, and sometimes we all sit in our comfortable homes and, or, wherever we are, and we debate about what should be the future of artisan. But we have asked this question to the artisans themselves. So over the last 6 weeks, we had a lot of webinars connecting our groups and artisans with customers. And this is a question I always ask them. What do you think is the future? Aapke bete ya aapki beti इस काम में जुड़ना चाहेंगे, आपके काम में जुड़ना चाहेंगे, और उनका क्या इसमें क्या फ्यूचर लगता है आपको आपको इसमें उनका क्या फ्यूचर लगता है? So very interestingly, I think we also did an extensive survey in Andhra Pradesh where most cooperatives, weavers, though they were very had a very constrained life, a very modest life themselves, but they have worked very hard to make their kids engineers and doctors. And we have seen some cases where some of the software engineers who worked in Infosys have come back and joined their father in their family craft business. So in terms of the future generation, according to me, what is required is to create, suitable opportunity for these craftsmen. So if they are going to make 5,000 rupees, less than 5,000 rupees a month, would we really want them to continue, being in this profession? Would that make sense for anyone? Not just the craftsmen, but even for us as responsible citizens, would we want to continue them in what they are doing? So I think the important thing is to find suitable opportunities for craftsmen where they can earn a dignified, respectable life for all the skills that they have. And the key lies in this. The key lies in enabling them, empowering them, connecting them with markets. And I think there's a lot of good work being done, right? I think there's a lot of good work being done in this by NGOs or nonprofits like Kadam, by Craftisan. We are seeing a lot of effort going in where we are taking someone who probably is like not very skilled at this moment, but who knows the craft, the basic craft, and we are giving him the required skills. How do you make more contemporary products? How can your designs be more can get you better price for your product? How can you connect with your customers better? How can you reach your markets better? So there's a lot of enabling and empowering required to really create a better future for the craft artisans.
Well spoken, very well said, because you're right, it's very important that they continue, but I think like what you're doing, online platforms like yours where Go Co-op can help them to get a better price, for their product is so important today. Shiva, do you think the government support can help? What sort of policy interventions and at what levels would prove most effective for governments to get involved in helping artisans?
This is my favorite question. I think, I think there's a lot private sector can do, and there's a lot social sector can do. There's a lot I think each one of us as consumers can do, right, to support an artisan. So we had an opportunity as part of, I was nominated as a champion of change by the Honorable Prime Minister and Niti Aayog in 2017, where there was a task force, a small team of, I think, 15 entrepreneurs who came together to make recommendations for the government in terms of what is required to really develop and not only sustain, but really to make India a capital for cultural economy. We used to call this as cultural economy, right? I mean, these are all related. I mean, not just craft, but there are quite a few other things, like even tourism will become part of this, right? Cultural economy. And some of those recommendations are so valid, and I still, find that it's a great opportunity lost if government doesn't really take these things up. The most important thing is which government can do at this time of crisis is not only to provide sustenance support for artisans, which I think it is to a certain extent doing, but to really help in getting working capital for the artisans. So a lot of NBFCs can provide working capital, but I think this is something which can be done at scale by the government. So in the 11th five-year plan, government had done a program called RRR, Revive and Rejuvenate the handloom sector. This was a RRR scheme. If I'm not wrong, it was around 2,500 crores or more, where there was a lot of credit given to rural cooperatives in the handloom sector. This was a major scheme which was implemented in 2013, early 2014. So we need some kind of transformational schemes like that to come in at this point of time, because no matter how much philanthropy comes in, no matter how much corporates come in, you need to have, this is a kind of a watershed moment in time where we have to look at some transformational schemes like this government to address the needs of the craft sector. While we have seen very good initiatives from the government for the agriculture and SMEs, I think something very specific for craft sector I thought was missing, and I could be wrong. That's my reading, that a specific initiative for craft sector was missing in what was announced by the government recently. So that's a great initiative that the government can take. And one other thing which I feel government has to play a very important role is really in building this handmade in India brand. So this was one of our main suggestions that we made to the Prime Minister in 2017 and the entire cabinet in 2017, that we need to prioritize handmade in India. And this should be a part of Make in India campaign, maybe even 5% of the overall budget, which is today being allocated for Make in India. I think a small percentage of that budget should be given to handmade in India. Government departments across the country, many state departments also have encouraged use of handlooms. So this is another area which I feel a lot of us can contribute, corporates, governments. A day in a week, we can promote handlooms, or a day in a week, right? I think, and many state governments, including Telangana, request all their employees, there is a government order to this effect, which asks government employees to wear handlooms one day a week. So I think a lot of these things will create a large scale adoption of handlooms, will create the required working capital, and potentially also create the market through major initiatives like branding and marketing handmade in India.
Thank you, Shiva. I think this has been extremely informative and enlightening. I like what you said, especially about the cultural economy. I think that's such an important word. And even a day in a week, that was a nice idea how, if you can get rid of that. Okay. Apologies, I think something's echoing and I don't know, someone's got a speaker. But what you said about it, a day in the week and everyone wearing linen or hand woven clothes is a great idea. Maybe we can get the world to do it. Have Modi got the world to have yoga day. Maybe we can have a handloom day where everyone in the world wears something made out of handloom, supports artisans in their own country. That would be a lovely initiative also. And even the 3 R's that the government is doing also is very nice to revive and rejuvenate. Maybe if all of us as citizens can help in that initiative also, in terms of helping the 3 R's to revive the city. So thank you very much, for this very informative topic.
I just want to add one last point, Sonal. I think it's also important to build a massive collective, consciousness around handlooms as we speak. And I want to inform all the audience that we have some very probably never before. I think there's a lot of collective initiative which is going on underway for the craft sector right now as we speak. One of them is a hand for handmade in India. This is a collective initiative where we are trying to bring together, again, different stakeholders for the craft sector. Could be designers, could be obviously artisans themselves, designers, architects, all different kinds of organizations, right? And creating more awareness around the craft sector. And then we also have Creative Dignity. This is again a very organized collective initiative where we are trying to see how we can provide at this point sustenance support to artisans across the country. And both these initiatives are actually doing, bringing people together and, actually creating a lot of awareness of, the challenges being faced by the craft sector right now. So I think it's also important to support these initiatives. So I think there is also a fundraise campaign going on for these initiatives. So I think it will be great if, if anyone is interested in contributing or supporting towards craft sector, I think these are initiatives that you can also support at this point of time.
Thank you for that. It's very important, the role that SVP partners and philanthropists and other nonprofits can play in helping them to reimagine this wonderful future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sonal.
I'll now introduce you to Payal. Payal Nath has been in the East with artisans in Bengal. Since 1998, Payal has been working relentlessly with the marginalized artisan communities that don't have access to design knowledge and concepts. Drawing from her experience of working with global designers, understanding the micro processes, she now helps artisans do the same. Was established as an NGO in 2006 to create training modules, and in 2008, Kadam Hut, a for-profit company, became the market platform to sell in case post-training the artisans, in case artisans need further handholding. Today, Kadam Hut, with its dedicated task force, makes and sells handicraft baskets for everyday use, made especially for everyday homes. Payal, do you want to tell us about the situation there, especially with the cyclone creating so much havoc right now? So you have two C's, COVID-19 and the cyclone to deal with. How are the artisans coping, and what has Kadam's role been so far?
Hi, Sona. Thank you for the introduction. Yes, it hasn't been easy. In any case, for the whole of India, with COVID, with the crafts, what Shiva mentioned, and now in Bengal, or should I say Bengal and Orissa both, we have double trouble. Well, I start off with Jan, when after December, the whole COVID situation started to brim up, and good thing that happened for our basket makers in January was that all the people who were importing baskets from China started to move towards India, towards us. So it sort of opened up a market which wasn't there earlier. And there were buyers. I'm just trying to show the silver lining before the other aspects, yeah. So, buyers who were buying for $12 from China were open to buy from India for $15 as well. But they were, because they believed in the Indian handmade and they thought in the processes and somehow kind of an integrity that our country or our basketry makers or handicraft sector in our country had. So that was the silver lining, I would say. Then comes lockdown, March. Shiva said it was hard. Everybody was hit hard. SVB came to our immediately within 2 days. They reached us and they said, "How could we help the artisans who work with you?" So we have 448 families, who were sort of new in the training programs, and they did not have as much support in terms of, they were not so self-reliant as of now. They were new to our trainings. So we reached out to them, and relief was given within 2 days after this. Then comes April. Kadam team completely charged our team on the ground. They were locked in their homes, not allowed to go out. They started to volunteer. Now I'm talking before the cyclone, just to build up the kind of resilience, the kind of attitude that these people have who act as role models to the ground team people. So I'm building up the story before cyclone for you to know how it is. So these people started to volunteer. Our team, they're like the, how should I say, task force who were leading our artisan groups on the field to be the task force and hold the flag high for handicraft makers or for all other communities around as well that existed. Then came cyclone. That completely destroyed a lot of hopes, a lot of things that people already were, they were so resilient. But still, I see people coming up and saying, our village, West Bengal people coming up and telling us, मैडम ये ना टूट गया है हमारा घर, कोई बात नहीं, थोड़ा सा हम लोग फिर भी मैनेज कर सकते हैं, हमारे गांव के घर जो बिल्कुल खत्म हो गए हैं, let's build those. So our team now has decided for 1 week not to dispatch any orders in the coming week, but fill up bamboos, tirpal, nails, whatever is required, truck mein bhar ke ye log leke jayenge, and they will build relief homes for all these artisans. So that's the kind of beauty that I find, in these, these people who come together in tough times, and also if they know that there is somebody who's there to help them, to hold hands, and who's there to sort of, who recognizes their we recognize them, they recognize others to support, you know. So yeah, I mean, that is as far as the situation is. It's, I didn't want to show the Sundarban pictures of the artisans because that would be too harsh on this platform. This already is Midnapur, what you saw. So the artisans in 3 districts that we work with are going through a very, very tough time. But there are others in Kuch Bihar, in Bakura, in Purulia who are all right. So they are the ones who are coming forth to figure out ways as well and join hands with Kadam team to help these people on the ground.
Thank you, Payal. These are very poignant stories with a lot of optimism, which I'm happy to note. And just one thought, I thought if we could just get a little sign like handmade in India on all of these baskets, that would be lovely because, you know, even as someone who buys a lot of baskets or even for gift giving, you know, a lot of baskets, but I wouldn't know whether it's made in China or it's made in India, but it's a simple thing like, I mean, especially at this point in time in our life, we all want to support our artisans. If somehow we can get that, maybe
so see, basically the baskets that are made in Bengal that we work with. Okay, so now starting with Kadam. So Kadam makes baskets, or we work with the basketry makers. Thousands and thousands of basketry makers we work with in Bengal, in Orissa, and in UP now recently. So the materials that we use are non-timber forest produce, which is bamboo, which is sabai grass, shitol patti, moonj grass. So these are all locally growing grasses which we use, and we just teach them how to season them, how to ensure that, and how to use natural colors to dye in case they're making patterns. They already know how to make beautiful patterns. But when they do make, you know, they would make baskets for their personal use at home. So one basket would take about a month, but that becomes too expensive to sell. So that's when we come in and we introduce processes so that they are beautiful, but they're also affordable for everyday homes, people who value handmade, but it's also very affordable everyday use products. So right now, Okai is selling for us, Go Swadeshi, Shiva's organization is selling our products, and they're available online as well for international communities.
excellent.
So if you go to Okai to buy these baskets with the story and processes. Yes.
Very nice to hear, and I think we've got to let all of India know about this now. But thank you for this. All right, let's talk to another wonderful speaker, Nilesh Bai, who's here with us today. Nilesh Bai is a management professional with over 18 years of experience in the development and corporate sector. Nilesh now brings together the best of both worlds. He's working with NGOs and he's working with NGOs and corporates has given him the opportunity to understand gaps and challenges faced by grassroots artisans. Now he mentors ambitious and enterprising craftsmen and craftswomen become entrepreneurs. His vision is to develop micro enterprises among Karigar communities, thus just generating sustainable livelihoods and strengthening their social and economic status, to empower them to make villages a better place to work, earn, and live. Nilesh Bhai, if you can tell us, how have the Kutchi artisans been faring? Can you tell us something about Karigar Clinic?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Sonalji. Good morning, everybody. First of all, to organize this webinar and giving us a platform to raise our voices from east, west, and south. Let me introduce first our initiative. We work with talented karigars who are very keen to develop their own businesses, but somehow unable to do that due to lack of education, resources, business skill, management skill. At Karigar Clinic, we do their business health checkup, design audits, market audits, and generate diagnosis reports. We figure out their USPs and support them to develop a whole business ecosystem so they can generate and create a sustainable livelihood and sustainable businesses. Karigar Clinic upholds the Gandhian philosophy where local people work locally by using local technique, material, knowledge, skill, and resources. Our whole mission is to create Karigar entrepreneurs among artisan communities. We want to make villages a better place to work, earn, and live. So our whole purpose is to inspire and empower millions of artisans to become an entrepreneurs and make them able to provide livelihood at least 100 families. So our ultimate goal is to develop 1,000 Karigar entrepreneurs across rural India and generate livelihood for 1 lakh families. Now, let me speak few words in Hindi for all of the artisans who have joined this webinar. समग्र विश्व में कोरोना के कारण जो परिस्थिति निर्माण हुई है, उसमें कहीं ना कहीं सब लोग प्रभावित हुए हैं, पर सबसे ज्यादा अगर कोई प्रभावित हुआ है तो वो कारीगर है और क्राफ्ट सेक्टर है। क्राफ्ट सेक्टर ही क्यों ज्यादा प्रभावित हुआ है? अगर हम इसका विश्लेषण करते हैं तो क्राफ्ट सेक्टर में 3 लोग बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण हैं: कारीगर, सप्लायर और कंज्यूमर। अनफॉर्चुनेटली ये तीनों लोग अलग अलग लोकेशन पर रहते हैं, इसलिए सप्लायर कारीगर को अपना रॉ मटेरियल प्रोवाइड नहीं कर सकता, कारीगर प्रोडक्शन नहीं कर सकता और कारीगर कंज्यूमर को अपना प्रोडक्ट सेल नहीं कर पाता। इसलिए क्राफ्ट सेक्टर बहुत ही ज्यादा प्रभावित हुआ है। अगर हम हमारे पुराने कल्चर को देखते हैं, लोकल कल्चर को देखते हैं, तो उसमें कारीगर, सप्लायर और कंज्यूमर तीनों एक ही लोकेशन पर रहते थे। तीनों एक दूसरे को बहुत अच्छे से जानते थे, तीनों एक दूसरे के प्रॉब्लम को बहुत अच्छे से जानते थे। तो ऐसे कोई डिजास्टर या कोई आपदा आ जाती थी तो वो तीनों मिलके लोकल सॉल्यूशन ढूंढते थे। आज पूरी दुनिया में फेसलेस मार्केट कल्चर तैयार हुआ है। पुराने जमाने में फेस टू फेस मार्केट कल्चर था। प्रोड्यूसर कंज्यूमर को जानता था, प्रोड्यूसर सप्लायर को जानता था, सब लोग आपस में एक दूसरे को जानते थे। मुझे रामजी बाई के खेत का सब्जी ही चाहिए, या मुझे गंगाबेन के घर का दूध ही चाहिए, या मुझे श्यामजी भाई ने बुना हुआ कंबल ही चाहिए, वो वाला कल्चर था। आज फेसलेस मार्केट कल्चर में वो सारी बातें चली गई हैं। उसके अलावा सोसाइटी में 2 तरह के क्लास अभी तैयार हुए हैं, एक है इंडिपेंडेंट और बाकी सारे डिपेंडेंट। कैन वी हैव इंटरडिपेंडेंट कम्युनिटीज? हमने कारीगर क्लिनिक के तहत हमारे 2 कारीगर एंटरप्रेन्योर्स है, पाबीबेन रबारी और जबार भाई खत्री। हमने कुछ चीजों को एक्सपेरिमेंट करने की कोशिश करी। उसमें हमने 5 से 6 अलग अलग कम्युनिटीज को इन्वॉल्व करा और कुछ प्रोडक्ट तैयार करवाए। सारी क्राफ्ट लोकल थी और कंज्यूमर भी लोकल थे, और मुझे खुशी है कि हम लोकल मार्केट में ये चीजों को सेल कर पाए। तो कोरोना के कारण जो परिस्थिति निर्माण हुई है, अगर हम कुछ हद तक ये 3 चीजों को लोकल में सेट कर पाते हैं, कारीगर, सप्लायर और कंज्यूमर लोकल में अगर सेट कर पाते हैं, तो कोरोना के बजाय और भी कोई प्रॉब्लम आएगा तब भी क्राफ्ट सेक्टर प्रभावित नहीं होगा। तो ये लॉन्ग टर्म स्ट्रेटेजी के पर हमें सोचना चाहिए। दूसरा, कोरोना के कारण जो परिस्थिति अभी निर्माण हुई, उसमें कारीगर को हेल्प करने के लिए बहुत सारे एनजीओ, बहुत सारे लोग आगे आ रहे हैं, बहुत ही अच्छा एफर्ट्स डाल रहे हैं। बट मेरे हिसाब से कुछ हद तक कुछ लोग, कुछ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कारीगर के जो प्रॉब्लम्स है उसका बहुत अच्छे से मार्केटिंग कर रहे हैं। ये चीज नहीं होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि कारीगर जो आत्मसम्मान से जी रहा है उसको कहीं ना कहीं लगता है कि वो बेचारा है, और फिर वो अपना आत्मसम्मान गंवा के हाथ फैलाना शुरू कर देता है। तो मैं ये सारी जो चीजें हैं उसको स्टॉप करनी चाहिए। अब जो कारीगर का मेन प्रॉब्लम है अभी, वो है एग्जिस्टिंग इन्वेंटरी। उसके पास जो स्टॉक पड़ा है, अगर वो सेल हो जाता है तो कारीगर को बहुत बड़ा हेल्प मिलेगा। पर ये चीज कैसे हो पाएगी? तो हमारे पास कुछ सुझाव हैं। अगर हम जॉइंटली इसको एक स्वदेशी मूवमेंट की तरह आगे ले जाए तो उसमें डेफिनेटली कुछ अच्छे रिजल्ट मिल सकते हैं। सबसे पहला उपाय मेरे हिसाब से ये है, सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट और सारी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट के 5 करोड़ एम्प्लॉय और पेंशनर्स हैं, उसमें मैं डिफेंस कैटेगरी को भी नहीं गिन रहा हूं। 5 करोड़ एम्प्लॉय हैं और हर साल गवर्नमेंट हर एक एम्प्लॉय को एचआरए देती है, डीए देती है, फिर बोनस देती है, बहुत सारी फैसिलिटीज देती हैं। अगर हर एक एम्प्लॉय को साल में सिर्फ एक बार 10,000 रुपये एज अ क्राफ्ट सपोर्ट अलाउंस दिया जाए और उनको ये 10,000 रुपये सिर्फ और सिर्फ लोकल हैंडीक्राफ्ट की चीजें खरीदने में ही लगाने हैं, इसमें 5,000 रुपये वो लोग लोकल हैंडीक्राफ्ट खरीद सकते हैं और 5,000 रुपये में से अक्रॉस द रूरल इंडिया वो कहीं से भी क्राफ्ट प्रोडक्ट खरीद सकते हैं। तो अब सोचिए, अगर 5 करोड़ लोग 10-10 हजार रुपये का भी शॉपिंग करते हैं तो क्राफ्ट इकोनॉमी को कितना बूस्ट मिलेगा। मेरा दूसरा सुझाव ये है, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया और सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट सबके बहुत सारे रिटेल आउटलेट्स हैं। अगर गवर्नमेंट चाहे तो सब कारीगर से 50,000 या 1,00,000 रुपीस का स्टॉक वो बाय कर सकते हैं और अपने रिटेल आउटलेट के जरिए वो उसको सेल कर सकते हैं। उसके अलावा गवर्नमेंट के बहुत सारे मीटिंग्स होते हैं, सेमिनार्स होते हैं, कॉन्फ्रेंसेस होते हैं, उसमें ये सारी चीजों को वो सेल कर सकते हैं। तीसरा मेरा ये सुझाव है कि हमारे पास बहुत सारे कॉर्पोरेट्स हैं, उनका सीएसआर फंड है। अगर एक प्रोविजन किया जाए कि हर एक कंपनी को, हर एक कॉर्पोरेट को अपने सीएसआर के तहत 5 लाख या 10 लाख रुपीस का स्टॉक बाय करना है और उसको उसके जो भी एम्प्लॉय है उनको दिवाली गिफ्ट के तौर पर दिया जाए, तो ये क्राफ्ट सेक्टर को बहुत अच्छे से बूस्ट कर सकता है। चौथा मेरा सुझाव ये है कि जो भी इंडिविजुअल कस्टमर्स हैं, बिजनेसमैन हैं, एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं, तो कहीं घूमते रहते हैं और क्राफ्ट की चीजें खरीदते हैं। अगर वो एंड ऑफ द ईयर अपना आईटी रिटर्न फाइल करते हैं, उसमें अगर उन्होंने क्राफ्ट की चीजें बाय करी हैं तो उनको टैक्स रिबेट मिलना चाहिए। तो उससे ये सारा जो कम्युनिटी है जो क्राफ्ट की चीजें बाय करती हैं उनको बहुत अच्छा मोटिवेशन मिलेगा। और मेरा पांचवा सुझाव ये है कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का स्टार्टअप इंडिया का स्कीम है, बट अनफॉर्चुनेटली उसमें कारीगर को गिना नहीं जाता है। छोटे छोटे कारीगर जो क्राफ्ट सेक्टर में लगे हुए हैं उनको सोशल स्टार्टअप के तहत ये स्कीम में लाया जाए और उनको, जैसे शिवाजी ने बताया कि वर्किंग कैपिटल देना चाहिए, स्टार्टअप के तहत वर्किंग कैपिटल दे ताकि वो अपने छोटे छोटे बिजनेस को आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं। तो हम सब लोग कोशिश करते हैं, बहुत सारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन भी कोशिश करते हैं, तो जॉइंटली अगर एक प्रेशर ग्रुप बनाया जाए और ये सारी चीजें अगर इम्प्लीमेंट की जाती हैं तो डेफिनेटली सेक्टर को बहुत अच्छा फायदा मिलेगा और आने वाला जो फेस्टिव सीजन है उसमें इकोनॉमी को बूस्ट मिलेगा। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Nilesh Bhai. Very touching, and also, you know, I can relate. My father-in-law, God bless him, he's 95 years old, but your exact story, he would say the yogurt would come from this house, the vegetables would come from this house. Everyone knows everyone in the village, and it'd be lovely if we get back to our roots and back in the villages, you know, like what you said. And it's nice if we can make these villages a better place to work, earn, and live. And it's very encouraging to hear about your great work and the entrepreneurial spirit being injected into the community, which is so needed. Thank you, Nilesh Bhai, very much. Thank you. Our last speaker, last but not least, is Mayura. Mayura has been working with artisans in the South. She's grown up with a rich dose of traditional and contemporary arts and crafts. Mayura is a self-proclaimed cultural junkie. I can relate. She has an MBA. She's an MBA graduate from the Indian School of Business, ISB, very prestigious, and from Hyderabad. Her grassroots level exposures to India's rich cultural heritage comes from handling a national craft and cultural-based rural tourism project with UNDP India, spread across 36 villages and 20 states. It's a big undertaking. She has experience across the entire handicrafts value chain, from sourcing, capacity building, and design development to improving operational efficiency and enabling marketing across multiple channels. Her vision is for citizens and corporates alike to extend the concept of Make in India to promote and preserve everything that is handmade in India. Thank you. Nice to have you with us, Mayuri. I apologize, Mayuri. What is your view on the current situation? How has Craftisan been assisting artisans?
Thank you, Sonal, and thank you, SVP, for being one of our staunchest supporters. I started Craftisan in 2014 with a simple vision to preserve and evolve Indian craft skills so they continue to remain relevant in a changing world. So, you know, change has been intrinsic to our business model. I've actually just prepared a short presentation. So, Angana, if you can just have that up. So we basically focus on craft-based livelihoods. And one of the sort of, needs we saw emerging in the craft sector is that there were a lot of marginalized communities who did not have access to any other mainstream opportunities for income earning. And for them, crafts was very suitable. So, we've been focusing on working with persons with intellectual disability, women from underprivileged backgrounds, whether they are urban, rural, tribal, unskilled, unschooled, but also women rehabilitated from trafficking, from domestic violence. Angana, we can go to the next slide. No, the one before. Before this. That's right, yeah. So, we basically call our work. The next one. Yeah, great. So we basically, because we work with so many marginalized communities, we call our work as inclusive craft skilling. Our focus is to bridge the skill income gap. So it's not just about providing skills, but it's also about customizing skills to suit ability, to suit market access, raw material access, geography, but also to provide holistic training, not just the technical craft skills, but also soft skills, design thinking. And most of our crafts are designed for group enterprises. So we actually, encourage communities to be trained and then actually come together, and we facilitate and provide all the hand-holding support required for the group enterprises, including production planning, market creation, design development. And we're also focused on creating environmental impact by working with a wide range of discards, such as temple flowers, single-use plastics, flex banners, newspapers, fabric discards, etc. And one of our USPs is that we have a collaborative model. So we work actively with other not-for-profits, we work with the government, we work with public institutions like NIMHANS, so that we can collectively scale our impact. And while they are good at managing the day-to-day operations of the center, we bring all the front ending that's required to make the skills income generating. So yeah, I've just quickly mentioned some of our impact figures below. We've trained 2,000 beneficiaries, worked with 300 traditional artisans, worked with over 30 craft skills. So it's a lot that we've taken on. We currently manage 20 livelihood centers across Bangalore, Hyderabad, Calcutta, and we have active 20 partnerships with various organizations. So the next slide is just to show you that, we do take this whole aspect of customizing the skills very seriously. We found that as a huge gap, where a lot of skilling happens, but no income. And so therefore for us, there are a lot of factors mentioned here, but really the key there is the income potential. So yeah, we can move on to the next one, which is just to show the next slide and the next one. Yeah, so this is just to show that, we work with a very wide range of craft skills, and, we've just shown a sample of our products here. There's products made from temple flowers, there's single-use plastics here, there's embroidery, mirror work, folk painting, there's leather craft from Andhra, there's Cherial folk art, there's Banaras toys, there's Kantha embroidery, jewelry made from grass. So we really work with a very wide range of skills. And the last slide, please. So yeah, I'll just wait for the next slide to come on. And I'll quickly run through what has been our response since, COVID and lockdown and everything else started. So in the short term, we've provided relief to, 280 families actually. 200 of our families across Bangalore and Hyderabad, 60 artisan families in Chennapatna who didn't have any support. And we've also provided wage compensation to the families that we couldn't reach because of the lockdown. We were not even able to provide them dry rations. This is both in April and May, and we might have to continue with continuing the support for the next couple of months as well, because many of our centers have still not opened up. The centers that could open up, which was 3 of them, we got started on fabric mask making. Initially, it was just to provide the mask to our communities, but it was just heartening to see how we quickly started getting orders. In fact, our first 5,000 orders came from SVP, in the sense they enabled these orders. So thank you for that. To date, we've delivered 10,000. We've, processing currently over 6,000 orders. And we've developed income. I mean, we've enabled income for our artisans of over 1.5 lakhs just in the last, 5 to 6 weeks. We've also launched designer masks on our website because, why not make them fun, and why not integrate skills like painting and embroidery as well to include those artisans. We realized that we have to go digital. A lot of craft events have been cancelled, and therefore we decided to develop our own in-house capability for e-commerce. We've currently launched a page on our website, but we're, over the next month, we're planning to start our own e-commerce platform as well. And it's actually heartening to see the number of retailers who've been reaching out to, onboard us and kind of, sell products that we have. So it's really a coming together of a lot of players in the sector. In the long term, we are focusing on, design innovations, particularly looking at, what are products that are going to be relevant, life with and after COVID. We're also looking at innovations for our upcycling products, particularly from used flowers and single-use plastic, because I think now more than ever, the relevance of crafts that also have an impact on climate change is going to be very vital. And we're also looking at scaling up our programs. I'm happy to, state that we sent out a call for applications for our largest livelihood program. And we've received over 30 applications from NGOs across the country from 12 states. And we're hoping to onboard 10 to 12 of them over the next 2-3 months. So we've decided not to put our plans on hold, but to actually scale up our work, especially our collaborative model. And that's from me in brief. So actually my team, I have to acknowledge them here. They haven't taken a single day's break. The minute the lockdown started mid-March to now, they've just worked constantly, put in extra hours, been working weekends. And so, we've really sort of hopefully, getting as ready and prepared as we can to continue our work.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Angana.
Thank you, Mayura. That was very, very heartening to hear. It was a very excellent presentation. My God, the numbers that you've shown us, it's really nice. And I really like that you're scaling up, and even now in the time and everything we're going through, but right now you had 30 applicants and you're going to be actually, your whole team is still working despite everything that's happening today. So congratulations on that. I want to thank all 3 of our speakers, Payal, Nilesh, Mayura, and of course Shiva, for all of your contributions. It's filled us, I think, all with a ray of hope for the future, for only good and positive things to come out of this sector. I think we've received a lot of interesting questions on the chat, so I'm just going to read out some of them to you, and maybe you can all help me in answering them. I think our first question that came in was, what is everyone's take on local versus global, and how can we go about promoting this? Maybe I'll start, Payal, with you, if you can help us answer that question, the take on local versus global. Maybe you can unmute Payal, Nilesh, and Mayura. They can be in, or maybe, yeah. Go ahead, Payal. Go ahead.
What was the question again, please, Sonal?
Sure. The take on local versus global, everyone's take on local versus global.
I think there's no versus. Whatever works. If local selling or whatever produced works, very nice. If global works, very nice. The whole community, craft community, needs a market, whether it's global or local. I think if we cross the time where for discussions, we need to move into action and sell whatever sells where, and create markets wherever there are markets. There are takers everywhere.
Agreed. I think that was a question, local versus it. Yes, Nilesh Bhai versus, I think you're right, that local versus global. Oh wait, unmute Nilesh, please. We can't hear you, Nilesh. Ah, good.
मेरे हिसाब से बहुत सारे एफर्ट्स हो रहे हैं कारीगर को ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म देके ग्लोबल ले जाने के, बट एक चीज अगर हो सकती है कि कारीगर सीधा ही कस्टमर के साथ कनेक्ट हो, तो जस्ट ओनली द प्रोडक्ट, हम उनकी स्टोरी को भी लोगों तक पहुंच पाएंगे. तो आई थिंक सिंपल बाइंग की जगह अगर हम इमोशनल बाइंग कस्टमर्स को करवा पाए किसी भी तरह, तो वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. दूसरा मेरा ये क्वेश्चन, मतलब कि आंसर ये भी है कि मैंने कुछ रिसर्च करा था, तो उसमें ये आया है कि इंडिया का जो पूरा ऑनलाइन सेक्टर है वो 6,500 करोड़ का ऑनलाइन शॉपिंग होता है, बट हैंडीक्राफ्ट सिर्फ 500 करोड़ का होता है. तो एक प्रॉब्लम हमेशा, they cannot touch and feel the handcrafted products. क्या हम कुछ टेक्नोलॉजी का यूज करके कुछ इंटरवेंशन कर सकते हैं ताकि कस्टमर्स उनको टच एंड फील कर पाए और कारीगर सीधा कस्टमर के साथ कनेक्ट हो पाए? तो आई थिंक ये अगर लोकल से उनको ग्लोबल ले जाने के ये रास्ते ढूंढे जाए तो क्राफ्ट सेक्टर को और आर्टिसन को हेल्प मिल सकता है.
Thank
Can
you.
I add there? Is it all right, Sonal,
Yes,
to add in between?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. नीलेश भाई, मैं आपके साथ बिल्कुल सहमत हूँ, लेकिन उसके लिए जो हमने देखा है ना, सप्लाई चेन को प्लान करना और आर्टिसन को सिखाना, कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग, वो उनको सबसे पहले एक ट्रेनिंग देनी पड़ेगी. देन इट इज डेफिनेटली टू हैव दैट डन, बिकॉज कस्टमर्स ऑनलाइन जब जाता है तो वो फील नहीं कर पाता है, तो आर्टिसन को इतनी नॉलेज किस तरह से वो एक्सप्रेस करे, सॉर्ट ऑफ कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग ट्रेनिंग और मास्टर क्लास फॉर द आर्टिसंस, दैट वुड बी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. A and B, the supply chain. Supply chain is the key word. Back end supply chain. Front end बाद में हो जाएगा.
Just to add a point there, Sonal, I think as Nilesh Bhai said, I think local there is a lot of potential, and I was just also mentioning this over the chat that over a period of time, हम लोगों ने craft को थोड़ा ज़्यादा ही we have made it more contemporary, urban based, and also maybe more premium, right, as a product. And I'm not, it's a debatable, right, whether that's, maybe in many cases that's required to sustain the livelihoods, because that's when you are able to create value for the work that the artisans are doing. But what we have seen at GoCoop is that there is a lot of local demand for the products, not only now because of COVID-19, but हम पहले से भी देख रहे हैं, and we had a lot of discussions on this as part of the, even recently there was a seminar at IMA where we were discussing the same thing about positioning of craft products. What we have seen at GoCoop is a lot of traditional textiles have a significant local demand. For example, Pochampalli, every Telangana women or even Andhra women, right, I think want to have a Pochampalli sari. It doesn't matter whether they are from urban, rural, everybody loves these saris, right? So similarly, Gadwal, Mangalgiri, these are all like, household products. There is a beautiful cooperative we work with in Dubaka near Hyderabad, which makes very good home furnishing towels. And I can tell you these towels are like extremely popular, and everybody wants to buy these towels. So I think the local market exists. I think it has to be strengthened. And that is where I think suitable product development is required. We need to keep the cost factor in mind. Overall livelihoods have to be the objective, but for some of the local consumption, cost becomes an important criteria. And also I think the story part, how do we connect these weavers directly with customer using technology? Nilesh Bhai का जो आपका question था, एक छोटी सी हमने एक प्रयास किया है रिसेंटली कि हमने गो स्वदेशी के तहत जो हमारा एग्जीबिशन है गो स्वदेशी, हमने कस्टमर्स को और आर्टिजान को जूम के जरिए कनेक्ट किया है. हमारा एक्चुअली अभी और एक सेशन चल रहा है, तो मैं एक्चुअली उसी वजह से थोड़ा I was a little a bit stuck in two different places actually this morning, but एक conversation हम start करते हैं customers के साथ जो कहीं पे भी हो सकते हैं, एंड आर्टिजान के साथ जो कोटपाड़ में है, उड़ीसा में एक ट्राइबल आर्टिजान क्लस्टर है कोटपाड़. सो वहां से दयाराम जी ने कल एक्सप्लेन किया था कि कैसे वो बनाते हैं उनका कोटपाड़ फैब्रिक्स, कैसे natural dye बनता है, कैसे fabric बनता है, उन्होंने अपना demonstration दिया कैसे product बनता है customers के साथ directly Zoom में. So today technology is actually to a certain extent really enabling this kind of collaboration and storytelling, which was never possible before. So yeah, I think this is
just like to pitch
possible.
in. Yeah, excellent points for everybody, and I agree. I think on the demand side, we need to increase the base of craft consumers, and that has to happen through storytelling, through demonstrating how crafts can actually be a very credible replacement for machine-made product that people may be used to buying. So we need to really demonstrate the capability of crafts to meet all of their requirements, whether it's for home, office, or personal use. And I think on the supply side, we definitely need to focus on more design innovations. I mean, crafts have been niche and maybe high end because we focus on crafts that require a lot of time to make, and therefore you need to compensate the artisans adequately. But I think now, looking at the change scenario, we need to focus on design innovations where we can also make crafts for everyday use, which can be at more competitive price. I think that's where a lot of innovation, that's where a lot of technology, innovations and maybe introducing equipments, etc., to produce crafts at a larger scale and more competitively can help.
So essentially, we are talking about local say global tak, right? It's not just local, but I think there is a strong global market we should not forget because of this crisis.
Totally.
Yes, thank you. Because Ramesh had asked, someone online had asked that question. Ramesh is, do we need a national movement to buy local? Time to remember Gandhi and Swadeshi. So I think you addressed that question he asked. And even there's a question from Ganesh. The COVID times have been bad for livelihoods and will be bad in the next year, especially for discretionary products. What can be done to keep them solvent and at least able to feed their families without going to the government? Maybe Shiva, you can help with that one.
Yeah.
How can we help?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the government definitely can play a role, but I think there are a lot of examples that we can talk about where we are able to provide sustainable livelihoods to artisans without any government support as of now. To make it more convincing, let me take a few examples, right? There is a Sandur Women Cooperative, a 500 women collective based in Sandur, which is a small town in Ballari district of Karnataka. They make beautiful products, completely hand spun, hand woven using natural dyes. And these products are renowned not only in India. Every time we do an exhibition, there's no place, right, to stand near the Sandur corner, Sandur Women Cooperative corner. But I think the products are also very renowned globally. So with suitable product development, with good market linkage, it is possible to create sustainability within craft groups, craft clusters, without any government intervention also.
Okay, good. I think getting another question which had in a way related to that, but does emotional buying lead to sustainability, and how can we maybe continue with that, the emotional buying leading to sustainability, and how do we get more of that out to the market? Go ahead, Payal, go ahead. You have it.
I personally don't think that emotional buying is the sustainable solution for this, but creating awareness is the solution for this. And when we talk about awareness, we talk about the entire micro processes that are involved in making a particular product, handcrafted product. If a person understands just the process and the beauty of the process, I think the customer is going to buy it. So it's more about awareness of the craft, the history, the patronage, and the process. I mean, it will work. Emotional से मुझे नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, पर मुझे लगता है कि अगर हम एक डिजाइन जो नीड है उसके हिसाब से बना सकें, and second thing is उस process को highlight कर सकें कि ये कैसे बना है, that will automatically people will connect with it. Everybody is doing things with their own hands at home, so they will understand the value of handmade as well. I feel now even more so.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, while the emotional connect might be the reason people actually take an interest initially, it's actually, I mean, what we've seen over the last so many years is people will finally buy crafts if it's actually filling a need, it's fulfilling a need. Sometimes you buy it purely for, clothing or decorative purposes, but mostly people want functional crafts. So they want to connect with it emotionally, of course, and support it. But beyond that, it has to have repeat purchase value. And for that, you have to value add, you have to make it relevant.
So to add to you, Mayura, हमारे sales because हम everyday use baskets बनाते हैं, बिल्कुल बंद नहीं हुई. जो laundry basket बड़ी बड़ी पहले बिकती थी, वो अभी भी बिक रही है और कुछ भी स्टॉक नहीं हुआ है. हमारी प्रॉब्लम ये ज्यादा आई कि हम एक गांव से दूसरे गांव से हम कैसे कनेक्ट कैसे कर पाए, हम मोबिलिटी कैसे कर पाए, हम पासेस गवर्नमेंट से कैसे ले पाए, हम गवर्नमेंट को कैसे बताएं कि ये सिक्योर या सेफ ढंग से हम विल मैनेज इट एंड नॉट टू वरी, वी विल नॉट बी अ पार्ट ऑफ सो आई थिंक दोस प्रोसेसेस, आई थिंक वो थोड़े से वर्कआउट करना एंड टू आइडेंटिफाई नीड ये है और उस किस तरह से डिजाइन को क्राफ्ट के साथ में मैरी करना सो दैट कस्टमर उसके साथ वो कनेक्ट कर पाए एंड एट द राइट प्राइस कस्टमर लाइक मैंने मेंशन किया $12 से $15 लेने को तैयार है, provided it fits his need. He's ready to pay that little extra.
Yeah, I just want to add one small point here. I think completely agree with Payal and on this, but I think in these difficult times, there is nothing wrong in also making being a bit drawing people's attention towards the current challenges and looking forward for support. Because ये जो circumstances है, काफी ऐसे circumstances में I can tell that one is, I think it's good to sustain our sales, right? As organizations and as in this environment, even sustaining is a big achievement. But I think we need to do a lot more because there is so much of stock piled up, right, in different craft clusters. So while there are organizations trying to raise grants for funding and supporting the clusters, it's also, I think, nothing wrong in, I think, also appealing to consumers to come forward and see if they can buy some products, right, and support the clusters. Because this is not exactly philanthropy, I would say, but you're coming forward with a slightly more kinder heart, and you may want to buy a bit more than what you usually would do. So at this times, I think both can help. One is about telling the story, but also I think the current situation also warrants that we reach out to our customers and look forward to their support at this time, during this time.
Sonal ji, mera bhi
go ahead, yes, go ahead.
इमोशनल बाइंग का मेरा मतलब ये नहीं है कि कारीगर बेचारा है और उससे चीजें खरीदिए. का मेरा मतलब है कि कैसे हर्ट टू हर्ट को हम कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं. हमने हमारे केस में ये एक्सपेरिमेंट करा है. हमने पाबी बहन हमारे जो एंटरप्रेन्योर हैं, तो जब वो कस्टमर के से सीधा कनेक्ट होते हैं तो कहीं पर भी जाते हैं, कस्टमर सीधा बात करते हैं, केम छो पाबी बहन, एंड देन कस्टमर उनका स्टोरी सुनता है, बात करता है और फिर शॉपिंग करता है. तो मेरे कहने का मतलब ये है कि कैसे हम कोई टेक्नोलॉजी के थ्रू कस्टमर और कारीगर को इंटरलिंक करें, क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली अभी जो हम काम कर रहे हैं, वी आर क्रिएटिंग द डिपेंडेंसी. कैसे डिपेंडेंसी से मतलब कि हम उसको बाहर निकालें, मतलब कि आज कोविड आया है, कल और भी कोविड आएगा और कोई आपदा आएगी, तो हर बार मतलब कि हम ऐसे ही फोर्स लगाए. उससे बेटर है कि हम कुछ उनको एजुकेट करके कैसे मतलब कि डिपेंडेंसी वाले मोड से हटा पाए.
Yes, Nilesh, I agree. Very, very well spoken. Very, very well said. One very quick rapid fire type question. What kind of products work in the market today? What do you all, each of you can tell us, what product do you think with today's market will work for artisans? Oh, go ahead, Nilesh. Go ahead. Shiva, go ahead.
No, Nilesh, go ahead.
I didn't get your question.
So I can sort of look at, can I go?
Yes, go ahead.
I think, so actually this is something Payal and I were sort of working on, to do a consumer survey to see, what kind of products would still be relevant. And of course, health and hygiene. And if we can have products related to health and hygiene, for example, sanitizer dispensers, cleaners for home and office, storage bags, whether these are shopping bags, fridge bags, cutlery pouches, etc. So I think health and hygiene is definitely going to be a category for us to focus on. Masks and all of that included here. Home is another category with people working from home more. Looking at, can they, set up a better workspace at home. They're spending more time at home. So looking at home linen, bed linen, table linen, items for kitchen, dining, etc. That is going to be an important category. And I think with more social distancing and people not being able to actually meet their loved ones in person, gifting actually is a category that will also increase. And people are looking to, use e-commerce to stay connected with, friends and family. So these are kind of three categories that, definitely I think we should be focusing on.
I think all excellent suggestions. Yes, correct. Very, very true. Even it's funny, just yesterday I thought I have 3 sister-in-laws. What I should send them something maybe now. Our gifting sites, what can I do now because I'm not able? And yes.
That's a good point, Mayura. And just to add, we have done a sale for the last 7 days. This was a Swadeshi sale, which we do. We have done 70 times across India right now, and this is our 71st, but it's an online sale this time. And what we have seen is there's a lot of gifting happening, right? We have seen a significant buying overall. Just in matter of 7 days, I think the total sales was close to 40 lakhs, which was quite high, which we never expected. And we have seen very good demand for saris, which I think not only for personal use, but I think these are also for gifting. There's also a lot of demand for home furnishings. Very interestingly, we've seen more demand for home furnishings than usual this time. We also saw demand for accessories. This time we've introduced Kadam baskets. I think there was a decent uptake for Kadam natural baskets. We also saw some demand for jewelry and other accessories as well. So I think generally what's happening is that most of the categories that you would typically go and buy in a mall, I mean, if I have to be very open about it, I think now because of the current situation, people are coming online to buy these products, which they would go to an exhibition to buy otherwise. And also what we are seeing is there is some social consciousness coming in, especially after the, I would also attribute part of it to the call by the Prime Minister, right? Vocal for local. We are seeing some stronger uptake by consumers for these traditional products.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
सोनल जी, मेरे हिसाब से
Yes, go ahead, Nilesh. I can say yes. What products? Yes.
मेरे हिसाब से एक और सजेशन ये भी है कि आप जैसे काफी सालों से आर्ट फील्ड में हैं, तो कारीगर से हम आर्ट पीसेस तैयार करवा सकते हैं और आपके थ्रू इसका ऑक्शन भी किया जा सकता है. तो लिमिटेड एडिशन आर्ट पीसेस कारीगर से तैयार करवा के उनको अच्छा प्राइस दिलाया जा सकता है.
Yes, excellent suggestion. Yes. And what all of you just said in this answer is true. The things I've been thinking of in terms of products and gifting, even home furnishing. Shiva, what you said, when you're at home, I mean, normally I'm at the office or the workshop every day and I don't look at it, but when I'm at home, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I want to redo this room or rechange this upholstery, which normally I wouldn't have time to even look at or think of. But now that I'm working from home and sitting in a room, you're actually seeing more and thinking about more things that you would not normally think of. But I think it's been an excellent session today. I want to thank every one of you for your participation today. And I hope we'll all be able to contribute to the ongoing efforts in any way that we can. Please reach out to the SVP team. We're posting some contact information on the chat to take this forward. I want to thank Anna for letting me know about this. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be a part of this and to meet all of you in person to make such a nice, it's nice to see you. And I've been reading about you, meet you, Mayura and Payal and Nilesh and Shiva. And I'm sure Nilesh and Shiva are both in my town now. So I think we can do a lot of good things together, what you said. And one thing I'm going to ask you to do, as you said, I'm going to ask you all to put your hands out. Can everyone put their hands out like this for me? Everyone, can I see your hands like this? And then can you take those hands and go like this and a hug? And that's a hug from me to all of you and a hug from all of you to everyone out there. And the second thing I'd like you all to do is put your hand like this. Can you all do this for me? Put your hand here and then blow a big kiss. A kiss out. So I think in the time of COVID, this is the best way to hug and kiss each other. So a hug and kiss to all of you for this incredible opportunity, and also for to learn so much more about this. And I'll hope I can connect each and every one of you with someone who can take more of your work forward. I'm now going to hand it over to Ganesh.
Thank you very much, Sonal, for all the love and kisses at the end of this. It's never ended in such style in any of our thought leadership series. So, and thank you for wonderfully coordinating the whole thing. I just want to make one point, which is I think our whole series has been built on the premise that in any such a pandemic or any other situation, we need to move from relief, recovery to resilience. And I think what we've discussed in the last 90 minutes has really given us great hope. Because as somebody very rightly said, contributing money, like we have done to many artisan groups, just to keep them going, their families, their chula burning, if you will, I think that's the relief part. But it's very important, I think Shiva mentioned it, and Nilesh also mentioned it, that we must ensure that we're not giving charity. We are actually helping them to build their business. And somebody had come up with a brilliant idea. In fact, we have to implement that in Jharkhand, for instance, that every family which is capable of should send out a check of 10,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees to their favorite artisan to buy stuff, not as charity. And maybe you won't get delivery because of delivery issues, but I mean, you can get delivery, let's say by September. So you're actually funding the artisan to make stuff, and you can still make sure that you can get those things. And resilience, of course, I think, Sonal, you mentioned it yourself, and it's extremely important that we, next time around, we build resilient cities, resilient artisans, and a community. I think that's absolutely fabulous. Finally, I'd like to say thank you very much to all of you for joining us. The next in this series is on the 13th of June, which I would like all of you to attend, because we're featuring 3 of India's most, most heartful, if I may use the word, philanthropists, Mr. Amit Chandra, then we have Luis Miranda and Govind Iyer. And I'm sure all of you, whether you're citizens or partners or just well-wishers of the social sector, would love to attend. So thank you very much for being here, and thank you again, all of you.